Hello. On this day when Mercury is going retrograde in Taurus, and it's aspected by Mars, Mercury is asking us to be more careful. And I think it's important to recognize that careful means full of care. So I've got some care practices, self-care practices for you that may help. But first, a little background, just a little context. Ayurveda says that health is not only the absence of disease, but health is when all the tissues are strong, there's optimal flow throughout the body, the mind is clear, the senses are sharp, and you are stable, grounded in the heart. It's quite a beautiful definition of health. Relating to care for the senses, Ayurveda offers us these Dinacharya practices that help to nourish and balance the five senses. Five senses being the sense of hearing, the sense of touch, the sense of sight, the sense of taste, and the sense of smell, which I've said in that order because they correspond to the five elements of space, air, fire, water, earth. And so when we do these Dinacharya practices, Dinacharya, Dina meaning diurnal or daily, Acharya, practices that we do on a daily basis in order to embody and embed, you might say, and integrate. And so when we do these Dinacharya practices, we are nourishing and balancing the five senses to keep them sharp. But at the same time, that's nourishing and balancing the five elements that helps to nourish and balance the three doshas. Doshas being bioenergies. Vata dosha is made up of space and air, fire and water for pitta, fire mostly, a little bit of water, and then water, earth for kapha dosha. So these are great practices to do every day to keep yourself rejuvenated, balanced, grounded, senses sharp, mind calm, body, tissue strong, right? The definition of health. So in the morning, after you've brushed your teeth, the first Dinacharya practice is going to be to oil the ears for the sense of hearing. Very simple. You just take some sesame oil, but then you take a tip of your pinky finger and you get some sesame oil as the ideal oil, or you could get yourself an ear oil, a special oil that's made for this purpose, and you drip that oil into each ear, both sides. So first, put your pinky in the ear with the oil, and then you can somewhat close the flap or pulse the flap. You can pull down on the ears on the outside. Give it a moment to sink in before you then turn your head and do the same thing on the other side. And this is to nourish the ears. The ears relate to the element of space. Space is one of the elements that makes up Vata dosha. And so the ears are a Vata dosha organ, meaning they're delicate, meaning when we put the oil in, it's both going to help to clean the ears, purify, but also to nourish at a deeper level. You'll be amazed, I think. And it's also very grounding to do that. It's a great thing to do as well before you travel. I find that it's very balancing to being up in the air for long periods of time and all the stress of that kind of activity. So oil the ears, very Vata balancing. So the second, relating to the sense of air, speaking of Vata, Vata is made up of space and air elements. So the sense of touch relates to the air element. And we touch with our hands and our fingers, but our skin is touched and receives and perceives touch. So the whole organ of skin is what we want to work with here. And what you do again is you take your warmed sesame oil, you can hold it in your hands, you can put the oil directly into your hands and cup it or even massage it. And once it feels warm, at least room temperature, if not body temperature, then you massage your whole body, massaging your head, back, top, sides, front, your ears, your face, the bones, the jawbone. There's good lymphatic drainage through here, the neck, front and back, shoulders, again, more lymphatic drainage. Now you want to go circular around the joints and up and down on the bones. So massaging the entire body. If you don't want to massage your head because you don't want to oil your hair, then you can just take, again, pinky finger to the middle part of the top of your head where there was the soft spot once upon a time, the fontanelle, and you just do a circular motion and you will not get oil in your hair. So then you're going to oil the whole body, fingers, shoulders, chest, belly in a circular motion, up the right side, over the top, down the left, and across the bottom. So circular motions through the belly in the direction of the colon, and backside, buttocks, thighs, back of the thighs, knees. Remember, circular over the joints, up and down on the bones. Ankles, feet, toes. There's lots of nerve endings to the feet. So this is a very nourishing thing to do. This is called Abhyanga. When you use sesame oil, which you don't have to, if you run more hot, then coconut oil would be a good substitute. You could also use something like a mustard oil, which is what I've got here. But a sesame oil is a heavier, very rich and very nutritive oil. So it's excellent for Vata dosha. It's excellent for the skin. It's not only going to help to hydrate the skin, to nourish the skin, but sesame has a very small molecule, so it penetrates deep into the tissues and then can be carried throughout the body to the deeper tissues, Majja Dhatu, which is nerve tissue, Shukra Dhatu, which is reproductive, all the way to helping strengthen Ojas, or the immune function. Daily Abhyanga has so many different benefits. We could go on, but we're talking about the sense of touch here. And so the sense of touch, the sense of feeling touched, held, grounded in your body and whole. It's really beautiful for that. And it's great to, as you go along doing it, to say, I love you, as if you're giving yourself loving caresses, right? I love you, 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 I love you. So beautiful. Okay, so the third sense is the sense of sight, and that relates to the fire element, right? Fire gives us light. Light gives us the capacity to see, and not just to see clearly, but to see in full spectrum color. So to see the beauty and the joy of all of life itself. So we want to take care of our eyes. There's two different ways. The first thing I do every single day is when I splash water on my face, I hold water, a cup water, and I bring it to the eye. Actually, one hand to each eye, and I keep my eyelids open. You could flutter your eyes open, or you could just hold your eyes open and you hold the water there until it all drains out. And then I do it again. Fresh, clean, clear water. I hold it to each eye 5 times. So that's great for cleansing and also cooling the eyes. The eyes can get strained, they can get overheated. And the eyes, as they are the window to the soul, they are also the window to the liver. How romantic is that? And so they actually, cleansing, cooling, calming the eyes can help to balance Pitta dosha within us. Now, the other beautiful thing that you can do with the eyes is you can melt a little bit of ghee over your stove, just melt it at a very low heat, and add triphala powder to it. And you're going to make like a tablespoon of melted ghee and maybe a quarter teaspoon, half a teaspoon of triphala powder. And if most triphala pills or tablets, you can just grind into a powder. So you just warm it, stir it, turn off the heat, let it sit, give the pan a stir, give it a shake, make sure it's really well integrated, then let it cool a little bit. You don't need it to cool all the way so that the ghee recongeals, but cool it down, strain, and then bring that ghee. You don't even have to strain it, actually. Sometimes I don't. Bring that ghee to your bathroom sink, and at night before bed, you take that ghee and you just put a finger into the triphala ghee, and you'll just tap it around the orbital bone, around your eye. So around underneath the eyebrow, just tap, 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 and then just above the cheekbone. You don't have to go inside, just the outer, right to about there. Okay. Now, it can make the eyes kind of puffy in the morning. The skin will absorb the ghee, the healthy fat. It's great for dry eyes. Triphala is great for your eyes. It's good for the health of your eyes. And the ghee is also great for Pitta dosha. Eyes are the window into your Pitta. So ghee is excellent for Pitta dosha, very, very cooling. If you don't want to use ghee though, you could use coconut oil. Okay, so that's the sense of sight. We want our eyes to be strong so that again, we can see all that is wondrous, all that is beautiful in this world that has brought you alive on purpose to see its beauty and to know that that is a reflection of you. So 2 more. The sense of taste relates to the water element. It's by the water in our mouth that we're able to taste our food. Salt helps to bring more water to the mouth, more saliva to the mouth, and then helps us have a deeper and fuller taste to our meals. So the water element also relates to the water within us and the water that is used to help us purify the body. So in order to strengthen the mouth and its oral health, we can take some oil, about a spoonful of oil, sesame oil. If you're Pitta dosha, again, it could be coconut oil. take about this much, a little bit more, about a spoonful of oil, put it in your mouth, and then swoosh it. It's kind of like you're chewing on it, except you're also sending it around the mouth. So front, back, side to side, swish, swish. At least 10 minutes. Some say 20 minutes, some say 15 minutes, but 10 to 20 minutes, really. So you could do that while you're doing something else, like maybe while you're making your cup of tea or while you're doing your abhyanga. Okay. But the more you do it, the more it'll go from a thick, viscous texture to the saliva will mix with it and start to break it down. It becomes thinner. And that makes it easier and easier to do. What it's doing is it's cleaning the mouth. It's getting in between all those little crevices where your toothbrush can't get. It's also strengthening the gums and gum health. Also, some of the oil will sink down, and it's said that oil pulling can strengthen the vocal cords. And also, all of that exercise is good for the muscles in the face. So oil pulling is a really key part of our daily health. Okay, and then the final sense is the sense of smell. The sense of smell relates to the earth element. The earth, of course, is stability for us. It grounds and holds us. It roots us so we don't fly off. It's very balancing to the Vata dosha. Water and earth together make the Kapha dosha, which relates to structure and lubrication. So with this final element, with the sense of smell, what we do, you may be familiar with the neti wash. So we want to open up the sinus passages. We want to open up the upper respiratory passages. We do that with a neti wash. So that's to take a warm saline solution through each nostril to clear the nose and the sinuses. The next thing you would do is do a nasya oil. Now, again, a nasya oil could be ghee or sesame oil, just plain like that. Or you could look for nasya oil. There's a beautiful something, a nasya oil that's called anu tailam. And it's a sesame-based oil with lots of herbs and spices. And it's pretty pungent. It's pretty spicy. And it's like a fire that will go in and just clear out your sinuses. It's great if you have excess mucus, if you feel bunged up, if you've got allergies or a cold, if you feel that you've got something going on in your sinuses, like an infection or something. It's really great in the wintertime to keep the sinuses clear because bacteria loves your sinuses. It's a dark, warm space for them to not only hide, but then to replicate. So we do want to clear that out. First with the neti wash, then add a nasya oil. Just again, pinky finger, getting the oil on the tip, and then you insert the pinky finger to your nose comfortably, you don't force anything, and then just turn it around so that you're oiling the insides. After that, I would hold one nostril and sniff up through that oiled nostril. Same thing then on the other side, both nostrils oiled, and then take a sniff in order to bring the oil up higher into the upper nasal passages. You can even tip your chin up, head back, and let it drain back into the sinuses. You can even relax. You might put a little bolster or some rolled up towel under your chest area to lift the chest and open up the lungs, open up the respiratory passages, and let that oil drain back. So that's a beautiful way of not only opening up your breathing, but opening up the mind. You can actually feel as if your head gets lighter. You know, you go from being stuffed in the nose, sometimes we can feel in the ears or behind the temples, and you can suddenly feel there's more of an opening. Again, that sense of spaciousness. Space is a beautiful quality. Space is where what prana needs, right? In order that prana, the energy of consciousness, can flow easily within us and throughout us and throughout our whole life. So the space and the spaciousness that we can open up through these 5 Dinacharya practices, the practices of nourishing the 5 senses, that helps to nourish all 5 elements, but does really give us the space, the spaciousness within, in order that healing can occur. So however you look at it, nourishing the 5 senses through these Dinacharya practices are good for your body, they're good for your mind, they're good for your emotional nature, and they're even good for your spirit. They're beautiful ways to help you remember that you are beautiful and that you are alive in a world of beauty, to that light of you, to that light of nature that is reflected in you. Thank you. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be free. Thank you.